Ugh.
What do you mean, everyone?
Everyone!
Welcome to Everyone Racers.
It's a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of limit champ
Or lucky track dog league you run.
SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate.
as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussions,
Tips, tricks, as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing.
And whether it's on the spot,
hella sweet.
Or we're lucky enough,
and Chrissy,
and Chrissy,
I give you just the tip.
we're sure you'll giggle a little.
and learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
And I'm mental. And
Wait.
Zoom has changed their microphone access controls one more time, which is why we missed the first part of that.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Well, you know what? Nobody would have known if it was a you problem or a Zoom problem. So there's that. We're Everyone Racers. Welcome to an old Volvo episode of our show. It's episode 345. The Volvo 345, which actually was never sold here, was introduced in 1976 in the compact segment. It was rear-wheel drive and had leaf springs. Most of the lines were straight, but overall design imagined by Bertone was appreciated by the customers. According to Volvo naming system, it was a 3 Series with a 4-cylinder engine and a 5-door hatchback. Inside, due to the transmission tunnel and the short wheelbase, it hardly had any room for 5 adults for a long trip. So in case you're in a short little hatchback with 4 other friends, well, good for you.
And for our visuals, just in case.
We have a visual. That's great.
And what's even more fun is this car was originally development started on this car as a DAF, a DAF.
Oh, I went
They
down
started work. Yeah.
you went that rabbit hole.
And it's strange.
And
Yep.
it's better than talking about the Charger and the other 345s that were available. So I decided let's go obscure and let's talk about Volvos. So yeah.
Swedish is good, yeah.
yeah, right. And I was like,
Weird
something-
European, proto-Dutch, Swedish
Sure.
economy cars. Yes.
Something interesting that we'll never see, but we know more that it was out there. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
the more you know. Do 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 do. Anyway, what you working on? Mental.
So, like most of us, had a long weekend, spent most of it at Thunder Hill. I'm sure we'll reference that throughout the episode.
We will.
Getting back from that, last year my RV was in repair, like literally all year. So I didn't take it anywhere or do anything with it. And with everyone kind of showing up, I asked if some folks wanted to sleep in the RV and make it, more than just me driving it to Thunder Hill. So I did, and remembered there's still a bunch of janky things I need to repair on that. So I spent yesterday prepping for some RV dejankification, ordered a bunch of parts on Amazon. They'll be coming in, and then made some dumb decisions. Which one of which was a decision I was gonna make, and then my foot got operated on, and then finally the guy just emailed me and said, come and take this at this insulting price. So yesterday did that. And
this isn't good podcasting. What is
this
it?
is not good podcasting. So what my co-hosts are looking at right now is one of 2 Formula Vs that I now am the owner of complete. They're both complete. They have bodies, they have engines, they have transaxles. They need a handful of details to be race ready. And oddly enough, as the picture shows, they fit in the bed of an F-250.
Now I have a couple questions on this.
I have a couple questions too.
So
Go
many
ahead.
questions.
So
First
many.
off, how are you going to get it out?
I
Of
am
the bed
going
of the
to
truck.
lift the rear end of that, which I have demonstrated already that I can do, put it over the wheel wells, and there's a pair of ramps in the bed of the truck, and it will simply roll out.
Now, but when it rolls, like there's this thing called gravity.
Yes.
And it's going to go for a bit. Do you have any way to arrest its descent?
Yes. And when it goes for a bit, it will go into gravel, which will slow it, because that's where it's getting stored.
Would you please video this? Can you do it?
Sure.
I have a feeling Vicky wouldn't really mind standing out and watching you do great things. Yes.
I mean, just set the camera up,
Sure.
showing the back of the truck, and it goes, but make sure it's got enough room for where the car is going to end up. I want to see that part a little more.
I could do that.
I'm interested in that.
You
yes.
might be disappointed, but certainly.
I hope to be, and I also hope to not be. Either way, gonna be all right.
I don't want injury. I just want amusement.
Completely. Yes. My questions. Do you fit?
Yes, this one was actually modified. The roll bar was modified for the previous owner's 6'4" son.
Okay.
And
Okay.
It's even
It
got
does
the
not
pedal
look like
mods.
that.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking these questions.
Yeah.
So when you're bored, go on the GRM board, and in the project car section, Carl Heidelman of excellent restoration mechanic in for MGs in Michigan, and just good mechanical around, has a thread all about restoring and refreshing a Formula V for his son. And they do things very meticulously, but sensibly, and are very good at documenting what they're doing and why. So if you want to see what it's supposed to look like and what the good ones are like and how to do things on them, this will point you in the right direction. And then you can forget it all in 2 years when they get sold to somebody else. So, but it'll get you on the right track.
Well, and it'll be more than that. I've wanted one of these, but I've got no room in the project queue until winter. Earliest it will be November probably before I touch one of these things.
What are you going to do with it?
Like in the meantime, or just overall?
Nope. In life.
Race.
Well, like what race? What is
it's historic.
Is there an SCCA
Vintage.
Formula V class? Vintage. Okay. Cool.
There is an SCCA Formula V class. They are not very big out here. There's the Rocky Mountain Vintage Racers, and Historics have 4 races out on the West Coast, and then the Vintage Auto Racing Association usually has about 8 or so dates out on the West Coast. So
that's good. Yeah, I forgot about the vintage group that you guys have out there. That's that's solid. That's excellent.
But and that's if I'm lucky. The shakedown runs will probably be autocrossing.
Excellent.
Okay.
Great.
It was kind of like the truck. It was just too good of a deal.
Cool. You're going to be good at air-cooled stuff at some point.
No, I'll be experienced. I don't know about
good. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Well, between the 914s and the 914 and these things, there's so many bad engines. It's good. Excellent.
Reduction of horsepower.
Yep. Great.
Okay.
Chrissy.
So you guys, yes, please.
Yeah, we had a nice, much needed vacation. We actually went away for a couple days, avoided a lot of traffic, which was great. And we watched F1 there, came back, watched more F1 here. It was great. And I did a whole bunch of house stuff. Chris was out in the garage yesterday, but I hadn't cleaned in a while and doing a lot of prepping for the race. So there's still lots to do. So never ending.
Yep.
Chris
we
did a
took
little
the
bit
Boxster.
More.
And it's remarkable how much you can fit between the trunk and the frunk of a Boxster. There is a really surprising amount of room to bring stuff with you.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Because the engine's like buried and kind of deep in the middle. I was kind of surprised about that. That was interesting to me.
The frunk has enough room for nice deep things. Like it fits our big cooler or one of the bigger coolers and everything. It fits in there nicely. So, yeah, with the 911 without the trunk, I guess it just has the back seat, which isn't nearly as accommodating. But having both, it's really nice to do that. So I've been working on some stuff like new speakers in the Porsche because we did a lot of top-down driving and the speakers can't quite keep up top-down. Doing some Civic theming and some other little things on the Civic. Like I raised the front end very slightly because it scrapes on everything. Like the subframe scrapes on the trailer, and
Needs
up a
little
little tiny
sticks
bit.
everywhere.
Yeah.
You
No,
go
he doesn't
anywhere
have
with.
he doesn't even have a splitter, and it still scratches on
No,
everything.
I meant like, yeah,
Ugh.
you need ramps, tiny
Oh, yeah.
ramps everywhere.
Need
New
tiny
car
ramps for your
problems.
tiny ramps.
New race car problems.
Hmm.
Yeah, did some couple little welding touch-ups. I found I had one tiny pinhole on the roll cage in one spot, so fix that before Pagel catches it. Um, and I got the wrong thermostat in housing. I didn't remember that all those years ago when I built that engine, I used an RSX thermostat in housing. I ordered a TSX one because that's the motor it has. Turns out wrong and doesn't fit. So then I had to
Ah,
quick order not OEM Honda parts from Amazon Prime or whatever they call it. They got them. I don't know wherever I got them from, but they're going to be here in time, and that's what matters. So we'll get that going. And yeah, and just joining us.
Yay!
Hi, friends.
what up,
Hi,
player?
Timmy.
What's happening?
We're starting the show. Glad you could join us. It's
Yeah, thanks
fantastic.
for having me. Thanks for having me. I got East Coast, West Coast time framed again.
Oh, yes.
No worries. So those of you that I mean, everyone knows it's Tim. Timmy's here. Hi, Timmy. Timmy, what you working on?
Oh boy, it's been busy.
Oh boy.
We just got done with a race at Thunder Hill. And so I had the Monday unpack all of the things,
So much.
which
We're
is
get it.
which is enough of a hangover, but then I also had to repack everything because my wife and my dog and I are getting in a car tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. to drive across the country to Maine for the summer. So unpack,
Excellent.
repack.
So you're
So,
not. It's good you guys left enough room to really do the changeover here between
yeah,
lives.
well, my wife was like, "We're leaving on that Wednesday, so you figure out your race car stuff."
You were warned. So there. Yep.
Yep.
So the Solstice is going in the garage for the summer, just as it is, and that's future Tim's problem.
So the solstice has got an interesting scenario. So it's in the trailer right now, and it's parked in its spot. But one of my buddies, Jimmy Varelis, from Table for One Racing, is probably going to borrow the trailer to do Road America. So
Oh, cool.
he is
Wow.
going to have to unpack all of the things out of the trailer and put them in his garage and bring things up there. So we made a very good deal. He said he would replace my old tires in the trailer before he towed it 4,000 miles. So
I mean,
This
and if
seems
you're
like a
not
good deal
using
for
it,
everyone,
yeah,
though.
it
Yeah.
does. This is great.
yeah, so that'll be super cool. I'm really excited for him to do that. He's got great car. They just did a motor swap on his E30, and they were killing it at Buttonwillow at Thunderhill this weekend. They were
Knocking
in
on the
second
top
place.
3 all weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, they were in second place, like 2 laps down. And then they had a little issue which bumped them back a little bit, but they finished third, had second fastest time of the weekend. So cars are really good.
Sounds like it. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
It's Susan.
There's a no stop.
In what my Oklahoma friends are calling a future frontline episode, the startup company Stardust Power is building a lithium refinement plant in Oklahoma. Now, according to the Auto Week piece by Jim Motivale, they claim the ability to process 50,000 tons of lithium. 60% of global lithium extraction is done by evaporation via brine ponds. And you have seen these on the news in Chile, Argentina, and Bolivia, usually by a YouTube or an alternative cable channel talking about horrible, horrible pollution. Currently, China owns 80% of lithium production and 70% of cell manufacturing, despite having only 8% of the lithium reserves. But the Inflation Reduction Act has a provision for, quote, advancing the domestic processing capacity of minerals necessary for battery materials and advanced batteries. So the startup is applied for 200 and 225 million in grants and incentives and hopes to have them by the year end, with construction starting in the first quarter of 2025. All of this is to meet demand for EVs stacking up on dealer lots.
Well,
It's a
their
lot.
batteries in everything. And that's what needs, lithium in everything. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Cool. Good for Oklahoma. There's a lot of room out there.
Yeah,
Everyone
just
just flies
stack it
over. Who
up.
cares,
Right?
right?
Right. There's a lot of
Whatever.
flat. There's a lot of just stack it up in
And
some
Tim will
nice
wave when he
field.
goes by.
Certainly with all of the agricultural and meat production out there, when these brine ponds burst open, there will be no lasting effects. Because Oklahoma needs a third Superfund site.
Hey, they're
Just the
super fun.
third?
Why not?
I
Come
know. Why
on.
do they always sound so much fun? And it's the opposite. Oh.
You're one
Super
tornado
fun.
away from ending up in Arkansas anyway.
Oh shoot. At least
Yep.
it's not here. We don't have to worry about it. So that's fine. That's not true at all. Adam Ismail has a piece at Auto Week about the new Porsche 911, which will be available as a hybrid. But starting with the mid-year refresh, any 2025 model year 911 with manual transmission. This is the first time that the model's 60-year history with a 3-pedal 911 will not be available. Given previous histories like the GT3 1-year only stick, it is very likely a manual will be briefly return in the future. The 911 Carrera GTS is losing the option to make room for a 54 horsepower electric. 54 horsepower? Is that right? 54 horsepower electric motor inside the PDK housing. It makes 110 foot-pounds of torque for a total system output of 532 horsepower. Okay, that makes sense. 532 horsepower. Oh, goodness
Gosh,
gracious.
start over. You were having a
am-
good time tonight. Wow.
What's a
Like-
horse pound?
It starts
know,
with
about 2.5.
shots. It starts with 3 shots of Malort in a bad decision.
It should not. Tim, you want to take over? I started with struggle on this one, and then it just got worse.
I got you, girlfriend.
Okay.
How about this? For a total system output of 532 horsepower and 449 foot-pounds. Even with the added mass, the curb weight will rise only 103 pounds compared to the previous generation. The Turbo and GT3 RS models carry over as PDK only, but now the manual options on the Carrera S, the T, and the 4S, and previously mentioned GTS are now things of the history. Follow the link to the drive for more information on that article.
You
See,
did
look
much
at that.
better than
Smooth.
All right.
Smooth.
Much better than I. Thank you.
That was
Thanks.
coming in cold too. Well done, Tim. Right?
Thanks.
Wow.
Hey, a horse pound will throw everyone off. No
Isn't
judgment.
that back,
like that
back in the
HP?
day when your horse was like you'd lose your horse and someone would find it and they'd bring it to the pound in the middle of town? Like, really, my town I grew up in Westwood in Massachusetts had the town pound. It was this, it's about the size of my garage of stones, and any loose animals they find, they put in there until someone came and said, yeah, that's my sheep or whatever it is. I don't know.
It's the horse pound.
Yeah,
Bringing
that's the
it
horse
into-
pound.
At
Good.
least
So
I
maybe-
didn't say anything about a printer, because that's where I was going next. An HP. Yes.
Thought maybe it was a new British measure.
It
Unit
might
of
be.
measure.
Yes. How many horse
That
pounds to
car
the
gets
stone?
40 rods to the hog's head. That's the way I likes it.
Very sorry. I swear
right,
I'm
hey-
sober completely.
Yeah. Hey, this past weekend is often called the best weekend in motorsports. We had the Monaco GP, the Coca-Cola 600, and of course the Indy 500 all this weekend. Timmy's sharing his McLaren pride there. Hey, but a particularly strong storm delayed the start of the 108th running. Jerry Perez of the Drive had a unique spectator perspective on an impromptu replacement. What started as people running to avoid rain from one roof to another became an outright competition, because racers go on a race, and a couple of folks started challenging each other. As Perez recounts, soon someone was using their green t-shirt to kick off a race. Another had on their checkered flag jacket to crown a winner. The course was a corridor from Pagoda Plaza toward Turn 1 along Gasoline Alley. More interesting, as Perez says, this group of folks accomplished more in terms of diversity in a few minutes than IndyCar has done in several years, with one of the races featuring an all women competitors, while others had several women, older men, and even a child on the grid. Truly a beautiful thing. Videos and pics
Oh,
are
I
in the
might have
link.
to look at that one. That's good. I had not heard of that.
Yeah.
I was also just picturing how many people are falling down when you
Oh,
have
they
a
were
race.
drunk. There's a
Oh,
lot
not
of
even
shirtless
drunk.
people.
Even
I
the
meant
child.
like I meant drunk too, but also because you're running. I didn't see if it was actually in the rain
Oh, yeah.
or how much. Yeah, so how much they were running in the rain. Usually that ends in somebody falling. So that's very sad for them. Okay, we're moving on to our sponsor section. Likely because of our insistence that Racing Junk is a good place to post cars, Zach, the owner of the Vandenball Race Fan, has posted it for sale there. For just a mere $3,500, you can have it quite a setup and a piece of history. Zach had a goal of bringing it to every race, but it made it to a bunch of them before it broke his soul. Anyway, the car. It is a 2006 Dodge Caravan SXT. It is a 3-liter V6 and 4-speed automatic trans. What?
So it's 3.8 liter. There's a big
3.8 liter,
difference.
3.8 liter V6 with a 4-speed automatic transmission. It weighs 3,250 pounds with a very good diagonal balance of 65-35 front to back. Quote, the van is always a star on track simply because it is so rare to see it's running well. The world would be a better place if it was owned and maintained by someone who is actually capable of owning and maintaining it. Zach did purchase a pro membership, so he has 37 pictures, and a video for you to enjoy. So,
Including of himself. That's good.
and what the car used to look like, and pictures of him with the car, and it's got a fun story.
I believe y'all are in this photo.
Yeah,
So many
Chris
humans.
Chris,
So
I'm
many
standing off to the
humans.
side. Chris is standing up at the top with his Journey outfit on, actually.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So it is for sale on Racing Junk.
Yeah, and you're going to want to act quickly because I believe I saw it marked as pending.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, and
Okay.
here's the entire Vandenball YouTube.
What
that you can
fool
find out
did that?
about.
Oh, sorry. It's a
I
great
meant-
deal. Someone
I
should buy
mean,
it.
this is like own a piece of history.
Uh-huh.
Upcoming.
The American Endurance Series is at VAR, scene of Pantless Matt's saddest douche jam ever last year. 41 cars, 26 BMWs.
Oh.
Oh my.
I'm sorry, I faded off. That was so boring.
They're
One
going to
Miata.
fade off when they don't see another car for
Oh,
laps.
Yeah.
my
Where's
goodness.
everybody? Going down that long
Oh.
ass straight by yourself?
Yes.
Do.
One
do,
Miata,
do.
2 Hondas, 3 Porsches, a Z, couple of Vets, and the rest are Mustangs.
Yeah, that's about right with what happens at AER.
Wow.
Wow. Great. Hope
Yep.
they have fun at their track day. That was probably more expensive than track day. And everybody goes home with a winning a
everyone
little
gets a trophy.
trophy. So you win automatically, which is super fun. Have fun at that.
Lemons, of course, was at Thunderhill with me and Tim. Overall,
Tell us about it.
yes, overall an A was You Mad Bro Racing in what is now going to be the final season of their LS swapped E36. They have promised something cool for next year, and not being able to stand a secret, I went by and talked to them. They're not kidding. It's going to be so cool. Class C glory awaits their next entry. Hella Shitty took B and their 318 Ti, and to round out the very boring BMW platform, C was full ass racing, B team, and a 90 BMW 735i. Now, Judge's Choice was distilled racing, and it admittedly cheaty by their own admission. They walked around and showed everybody all the cheaty parts on it, but oh so cool, 41 Ford Coupe.
You bring a
Complete with
41
bullet
Ford.
holes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Don't most old cars in the West end up with bullet holes, and the South too, actually. When they don't completely rot away, they're out somewhere sitting, and then it just becomes a shooting car. So,
Well, so really you could just assess that all cars, given a long enough timeline, will be shot. It's just some of them rust away before they get to that point.
yeah, in the US at least. Yep. But when you have a 41 Ford, you can cheat all you want. doesn't really matter.
Pretty much.
Yep.
You're up, Tim.
I've got to say the hella shitty guys in B finished, even though their fastest lap was 61st out of over 100 cars. So
Wow.
good on them for just staying out on track and going round and round and round and
Yeah.
round. So well done.
A lot to be said for that.
Yep. Organizer's choice was the People's Republic of Racing in a 91 Honda CRX. And the heroic fix was Almost Ready Racing in an 84 Escort wagon. Who would have
Nice.
thought they would have had a chance to win heroic fix?
Yeah. At least they did.
I Got Screwed was a 1.21 gigawatts in a 96 VW GTI. And the regional was Future Potential Lemons winner in 2037 trophy. And the winner was Initial Jeep. It was but terrible.
Basically, their scale of progression, the last race, they never got to pass Tech and get on the track. This time they got to
Aw.
pass Tech, and I think they got like a handful of laps on the track. So it's a steady line of improvement.
The wind was moving faster than their Jeep was.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was a calm weekend. Your IOE was the Not So Cool Runnings in their 2000 Toyota Corolla, which rolled Friday practice and still made it back on track.
Oh, yeah?
Except for that driver, apparently.
Nope.
Oh, it's
Actually,
practice day.
mental, that was a
Loop-
different. The
loophole.
Corolla, the Cool Runnings car was the black one, wasn't it?
Oh, never mind. All right.
I think that was,
it-
yeah, you're thinking
Oh,
of
it was
the
Crayola. I'm
Crayola.
sorry.
Yeah.
But
The
no,
Toyota Rolova
yeah,
was the Crayola.
it's a loophole. Wasn't a lemons race.
It's true.
No.
It
Yeah.
was testing
So,
day?
Now
Yeah.
they've got a great new theme for their current roll later.
Yeah.
Like they can do all kinds of things.
And
give
they
away
will,
Tootsie
'cause,
Rolls,
yeah, they'll go on there.
Yeah.
I
They had-
completely screwed that up, Tim. Thank you for the correction. It was not
No
because
worries.
those guys had they had the suits and they were running like they would go through the paddock all the time as the Jamaican bobsled team pushing each other.
They pushed their car around the paddock, past the judges, past the potluck, running around and stuff. It was all they were awesome. They were
Yep.
awesome. But the rollover Corolla, they had giant like crayons on the roof, which got ripped off obviously when they rolled over, and there was a little kid walking around with a crayon with the large chunk and then just the tip, which was like every Crayola crayon looks like, right?
Right?
I said to him, I said, "What happened to your crayon?" And he goes, "My dad broke it." The guy was like, "Oh no." It's very cute. Very
That's
cute.
excellent.
The Halloween meets gasoline prize was the Indiana Stone Jones from the 420 team in that really terrible 1977 Transmero. I've got to give those folks credit. They bring it when they theme. They constantly come with a new theme, and they are always in the discussion if they don't win. They had
Costume changes. They had like a schedule appearance in the tech area. It was awesome.
They had like the monkey brand. They had like a monkey band around cupcakes, and they had like pink frosting on the top, so it looked like monkey brains. And they had Jello eyeball shots, so you could do vodka shots with Jello. And they had like a game where you had to like pick things up with this big monkey tail off the ground, and it was hysterical. They were on it all weekend. Well earned.
Excellent.
Do you
All
want to
right.
say anything else about before we move on? Because it's the only time we're talking about the race. Is there anything else? Do you want to? How'd you do? What happened?
Yeah, say you could ask Tim how his weekend went.
I can. Tim, how'd your weekend go?
It was good and bad, which
Okay.
is a typical
Tell us
Lemons
more.
weekend. It was better than Jeff Gates's, I'll say that. Poor Jeff broke the Chevy Love out for the first time. He really wanted to join Sorry for Party. We've been working hard on the truck, and the truck was supposed to show up on Friday morning, and instead it showed up on Saturday morning, and
Oh,
Oh,
that's no
and
good.
it fired up and made some pops and bangs, and then they tried to fix that, and then it didn't run again for 24 hours.
Oh,
So
oh.
they did one. I should say they did one lap on Saturday, and then they tried to fix it, and then they did get it out on Sunday. It ran around on Sunday. They had a blast in it, but they were pretty thrashed from a hard week at work. And
They'd
this,
been up for about 40 hours by the time they got to the track Saturday morning.
Oh, I don't love that.
oh,
And so
no.
I finally literally just their wiring guy who did a great job on the wiring, he just gave up and went and took a nap. And I finally grabbed the other two and drugged them to the RV, threw them down, said sleep. And then they woke up a couple hours later, like, okay, I think we're a lot better prepared to troubleshoot this.
Yeah.
percent,
Yeah. Troubleshooting is no
100%.
fun in the first place, let alone when you're 40 hours in and you don't know your own name. So,
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah, they
That's
were
incredible.
delirious at that point. Poor guys.
Great.
How'd the
Great.
solstice do?
So the solstice, we had good practice day on Friday. Saturday, the car went out and turned a pretty good lap with the first driver. He had a little, back end in front of the front end moment, but other than
Hmm.
that, it was pretty good. Just got the car a little dirty. I went out and was having fun, and then the pedal started to get long, and then the pedal got really long as I was going up the hill on turn 5 on the East Coast, on the East track, which, if you're familiar with that track, is like a 2-story speed bump and with a left-hand turn at the top of it. So as the pedal went down to the firewall, I was like, I am about to Dukes of Hazard this thing right over the top of this.
I
And
mean,
so,
cool story, bro, but also
wow.
that's
Yeah, code brown, 100%.
yeah, just a little
So
scary.
somehow I like pumped the heck out of the pedal. I got a little bit of speed dragged off, made the turn fast as I've ever gone over the top of that hill, and
Yeesh.
immediately went into the paddock. I think we had a little bit of bad fluid in the brake systems from Button Willow where we roasted the brakes. And Overzet was telling me, he goes, next time you do that, he goes, make sure you push the pistons all the way in the calipers, because if you've got fluid in the caliper itself, even if you bleed the brakes, it can still contaminate it, and then you're running with a wet boiling point instead of
Yeah.
a good boiling point.
And
So
if you've ever cooked, this is one thing we learned at SEMA from the brake engineer guys who were talking about things about stuff. If you really cook the brakes, the seals in the caliper are junk now. They lose some elasticity, so they don't allow the pistons to back off just enough, and therefore that retains more heat once they've been cooked once. They're never gonna that lack of elasticity never lets the pistons back off enough to let them really get away from the rotors. So you might want to just toss some new calipers on it or toss some new seals in those,
Well,
because
yeah, that's what we ended up doing was we went back through, we acquired some 660 Motul from one of the other teams there in the paddock. And while we were bleeding the brakes, one of the calipers came up with brown chunky things.
yep.
Hmm.
Yep. So the front of that car has been already transferred over from Solstice brake things to Corvette C6 brake things, and the rears will be going on when I get back from Maine. So it'll have a blend of Corvette parts thrown at my little tiny fat Miata, which will be
I mean, it's
which will be
kind
fun.
of a little Corvette anyway, the way it's all put together with the hydroform frame rails and all the stuff. It's like, this is all we know how to do. So we're just going to make that.
I just wish they used the same parts, because it's really hard to find Solstice parts these days. That's why we
Yeah.
bought 5 of them.
It's a good start.
Yeah, I mean, you're not the only one. That happens.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it was good. That was good. And then Sunday we had car was running really good until it wasn't. And now I have a I have a puzzle to try to fix. The car just went down on power instantly, and I have the Stilo helmet with the mic kit, which is really great. You can hear the radio, amazing, but you can't hear anything
Mhm.
else. So I'm like
Totally.
Yep,
trying to
Chris is-
twist my helmet to get to I can hear what's going on because I'm like there's a noise, but I can't know what the noise is.
Yeah.
So we checked kind
Steelers
of a
are
lot of the
wonderful, except when you're trying to talk to someone in the paddock and pit lane when you're trying to do anything.
and I do this all the time. I'm yelling at Chris, and he's like,
What?
wait, are you you're saying something?
I can't hear you.
yeah,
Yep.
it's like
It happens.
you're in a box all by yourself.
Mhm.
So car's down on power, not sure why. Nothing is jumping out. No engine light, no codes to pull with my janky code reader. So I'm gonna see if I can find somebody that's got one of the GM style ones that will pull all of the data, cam position and all sorts of other stuff. And I'll have to dig into it and see what's going on. But it was intermittent and it was making a noise at like 3,500 and like 9 pounds of boost. It makes 17 from the factory. So we've got a little bit of research to do on that before the next race.
Chris, you did offer valuable insight because if the fuel wasn't keeping up, that would cause the knock sensor to engage. And
Potentially.
as Tim noted, that the high speed fuel pumps on those tend to go out because you could get the car to rev to red line if you left it at quarter throttle and never got over 7 pounds.
Yeah, so the fuel is not keeping up, which means it'll probably knock because it runs lean. Once it knocks, the ECU freaks out and pulls a bunch of timing and boost, but it's not a failure. It's not a fault. It's just a condition.
Yeah. Limp mode, apparently the ECU, I learned this today, Googling around in the forums, the ECU will limit boost to 9 pounds when it's in limp mode.
Well, there you go. Seems like you were there, or at least close to it. Okay.
So
Okay.
the puzzle begins.
It does.
And you could go back and listen to our episode about race cars, CSI, and troubleshooting.
Yep. Somewhere around there. All right, let's move on. Champ Car was at Watkins Glen on Saturday for the 8-hour race. D class was won by Eddie Vetter in a Corvette by 6 laps. C was by Salen's Ketchup Boxster, 2 seconds past Rockwell Racing. B was Ruben Performance, 4 seconds over Ready Imports. And A was Haywood Racing's Miata, less than a second over Haywood Racing's other Miata.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yep. Boston Winers we frequently see at Lemons won Class F on both days.
Fantastic. On Sunday for the 7, Eddie Vetter won D again by 9 laps. C went to Rockwell by 2 laps. B went to Ruben by 8 laps. And A again went to Haywood, beat Haywood by less than a second. Super fun.
And less than a second against your own teammate. How much cursing are they doing at each other?
I wonder what the bet was.
Yes, totally.
I hope, but I bet there is still some hesitation. Well, I mean, we are hesitant about busting your own car with your other
No,
car,
still,
except
I've had some of
you
the
know.
worst red mist ever against our own teammates.
so did Alpine, apparently.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
the first
right.
lap.
Don't pull an Oak on.
Yeah,
I feel
please.
like Watkins Glen, you just have like that one turn and then it's a straightaway. So Miatas.
Watkins Glen that's a fun track, but
It
if
is
you
a
screw
fun
up,
track.
you have screwed up.
Well, there's
badly
lots of
in some
walls and there's
spots.
lots of places where you're going really
Oh, yeah.
fast and then there's a wall. So it's like really not.
Yeah,
There's
coming up
a-
through the climbing S's, it's all just walls, and like it's fast enough that we were putting the Civic in 6th before the S's. Like, yeah, to get an idea of speed.
And at
there,
the
it
end,
is
right before you
rocking.
go back past the straight, well, I guess it's the last turn before you get on the straight before turn 1. I don't know how many.
Was this pre-cage or post-cage?
This is old
Oh,
Civic.
Old
Pre-cage.
Civic. Oh wow. Okay.
Post cage race car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Race Godzilla as you had driven it. But
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
we're hitting sixth
So yeah,
before
that's
the climbing S's,
yep.
and then
Oof.
going all the way down to the bus stop in sixth.
But
It was
before,
moving.
right before the little straight, there is a wall that I really had this attraction to, and I just kept looking at it until the very last second, and then you turn, and then you go down the front straight. Really, it's not. It's a kind of a shorter straight than the back straight. So yeah, so there's a lot of walls. There's not a whole lot of run. There's a couple corners that have a lot of runoff, but most of them do not. So yeah, great track. Anyway, this is not everyone goes to Watkins Glen. Listen, our next
DJ 914 on last week's episode said, solid episodes, and it's nice to hear from the Earl of Jankertown again. While I do my best to avoid the janky path, I have been there. Early cars that needed parts too expensive for me to afford resulted in total jank until I took the time and money to make it right. But the path to janky is just a few, quote, I'll fix it later moments away from a slippery slope. He's not wrong. Good on Jeff for all he does for the youth of today. I've done similar, and it was well worth any time or effort.
And to put perspective to how janky Eric has been in his past life, I've seen a picture of him driving a driving Beetle pan only, just pan, going over a jump in midair, driving a Beetle pan. So,
Which with no seatbelts, if I remember correctly.
I mean, it was he may have had
just
lap
holding
belts,
on
but
to
it
the
was
steering wheel.
It was one step away from sitting on a 5-gallon bucket while doing this, basically.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, right. What's wrong with that? That's fine.
Yeah. Oh well.
Well, Tyler Stank has several thoughts. As a fellow resident of Jankerton, it's great to hear from Jeff again. Chrissy's survey reminded me of something an old roommate used to say. Every tool is either a hammer or a screwdriver. The screwdriver is the best tool because it is both. Regarding teaching the youth, I did my first Young Eagles flights last weekend. 13 kids had their first taste of flight in my airplane, and they all loved it. Hopefully, there are future pilots among them. I'm a bit late to the Super Duty party, but my V10 excursion regularly gets 11 to 12 whopping miles PG, and it sounds like I've got 2 cylinders for better than free.
Yep.
My
Randy says
D10 RV got better gas mileage than that truck right now.
Hey, Randy says the difference between janky and creative repair is proper operation documentation. And then he included a video of the questionable resurrection of his autocrossing Buick Roadmaster. Yeah.
It's on our Facebook. Check it out.
Deep.
Well, it's like the difference between insanity and genius is only measured by success.
All right. Zach says, I feel like the comments on grounds were freshly in my mind because of Pitt. I feel like I deserve the key to the city of Jank if the earldom is occupied. He added, having been a scout once long ago in a similar merit badge, I think Jeff absolutely knocked it out of the park.
No doubt. Now, over on the YouTube, our good buddy Mike K said, quote, as bad decision has a lot of newbies cycled through as part of our team charter and part of what we really want to meet them at least once before we put them in our car. So invariably, they end up at one or more build days. More than 75% say something like, don't expect much from me, as the most I have ever done is X, Y, or Z. Many of them have more skills than they think, but invariably they lack the hard-won skill of approaching a problem from a creative angle, like dropping a flathead 6 into a Camaro because you've got them sitting around. Watching that light bulb go on in their head as you watch them use a 24-inch extension breaker bar, 4-foot piece of roll cage tubing, and jack stand to remove a harmonic balancer bolt that only requires 85 foot-pounds of torque to put on, but a 3/4 air impact gun cannot remove, priceless. Similarly, showing them the 36-inch wobble extension and deep socket for upper ball bearing mounts causes an aha moment. More than one DIY car maintenance addict has resulted from 2 former teammates getting their own race car.
And Greg from Cheesebolt says, Cheesebolt Enterprises was just at Watkins Glen, and Salen's is the official hot dog of Watkins Glen. They have billboards everywhere, including the coveted bridge banner. The snack stand, they were the only listing to have their own trademarked signage rather than just black and white letters. He said he has one. He had one. It was okay.
It was okay.
Yep.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Oh, well.
You know who else needs to have their own coveted bridge banner?
Oh,
And
Yeah.
if she ever decided to make hot dogs, they would be so much more than okay.
I don't think she's a fan of hot dogs, but
No. But her cookies on the bridge banner, no one would say it's okay.
that's
Yes,
like
no
a
one would ever
great
say Chrissy's
idea.
mom's cookies are
Wonder if New Jersey
Okay.
has any
In fact,
availability right now.
if you're at New Jersey and someone goes, these cookies are okay, that is an invasion of the body snatcher scenario. Beat them immediately with a hatchet.
You probably shouldn't say that because she might be standing next to you.
Well, then there you go. And
At
no one
Jersey,
would dare
yeah.
say in her presence.
She's going to be in
Shh.
incognito while there.
Ah,
We tried to get her to wear a shirt that says Chrissy's mom, and she said no.
that's just
well.
a few White Claws away from changing that decision.
Nope.
About,
Oh, she's pretty adamant about not doing that. I
about
tried.
CEO of Chrissy's Mom's Cookies Incorporated.
Yep.
Maybe. The problem is I have to get it made like now, so that's a little late. Anyway, it's been a fun time. We're going to talk about New Jersey.
Yeah. We're going to NJMP. It's just a little early. We usually do it the week before, but next Wednesday is going to be a little busy with all the stuff we've got going on. So we're doing it a little bit early. We're going to be there. Tim's going to be there. We're going to have a lot of fun. So we're going to talk about Jersey. This is our usual what do you need to know show. We're going to do a track walk. We're going to do it all. So what do we start with? Getting in the gate. Jersey is usually pretty solid about not letting people in until the time they say they're going to let people in. And yeah, Thursday, it's usually like 6 p.m. And we have showed up when the line of Lemon's cars is all the way out the long road from Jersey, from the gatehouse, all the way back to the road, all the way down the side of the road for about a quarter mile at least. One year we took Scooty off and we scooted around just saying hi to people.
We got drinks.
while
We
we were
said
waiting.
hi. We were giving snacks out. Like, yeah, but
Do they
other
still
years
make you get out of the car no matter what and then go inside to
Yes.
sign all the waivers? So you have to
Yeah.
park and then get back in your
I
vehicle
think so,
and
yeah.
then go back
Yep.
through the gate.
Yeah.
Yep.
For
Bottom of
lemon stuff.
efficiency. Yay.
Well, that's lemons though. Lemon stuff is when you have to go to the
Welcome
the
to Jersey.
gate. Jersey, you get at the door or get at the
Yeah.
gatehouse, and then you have to go over to get the lemon stuff, normal wristband and that good stuff.
Yep. And they usually close the gate at 10. And when I say close the gate, like actually physically close the gate, like lock a gate. And we have heard about people scaling the fence because there's no other way to get in. They didn't want to sleep in their car out on the outside. So would recommend you get there before 10 o'clock. That'd be great. So if you wanted to be in there, these are the important things you need to know. So if you're like, well, I can leave work and I'll still get there on time, make sure you leave work a little early to get there before the gate closes.
Look out for traffic.
Yeah. When you're getting there, there's two ways to get into town too. Then it's a debate in my head about which is better. You can either take exit 27 off of 55 and go down right through Millville, or you can take the next exit and that brings you to the east of the town. But then you get a straight shot in that passes two good gas stations. You pass the Wawa and the Riggins, and you don't have to make that really hard turn in the center of town, which if you have a big trailer, you don't want to make that turn. So essentially, if you have a big trailer, take the second exit and you get a straight shot. Also, you're less likely to go through the rough parts of town where one time Chrissy, yeah, it's a little rough. One time Chrissy and I were there with the Land Rover towing the Civic and the open trailer, getting a pizza at Little Caesars that's no longer there. And the policeman asked us if we were lost and okay because where we were parked.
You should not be in that part of town. I'm sorry, I missed. I was writing a note here. Did you talk about the good gas stations over there? There's
that you go past the Wawa and the Riggins on the way in from the second exit.
Big Wawa. If you go on the second exits, there's a big Wawa that has plenty of turnaround. Like it's a really big parking lot. The Riggins and something else. Do we talk about? Oh,
Yep.
well, we're talking about local area.
It's just, yeah, roll right into it.
Ta-da!
There we
Okay,
go.
great. So the local area, like I said, the Wawa at the second exit is great. So the first exit is that really big exit, and it'd be helpful if we had a clue which one that is. It basically
It's
when you
27.
say
The
when to go
first
to
one is 27.
NJMP, you're gonna get off. That's where all of the different strip malls and there's
That's where Texas
chain
Roadhouse
stores
and Lowe's
and
all those things are.
right, lots of and there is a liquor store over there. If you're not from here, you need a liquor store and a beer store. They are very different. You cannot get anything at your local like chain stores. They don't have stuff like that. So that's a good place to stop before you get in. And then as you go past that big area right off of the exit, you are going to go into that deep part into town. It's a little sketchy. Close your doors. Don't park there. And then, so there is if you decide to go in the first exit, you will come to a intersection, which is really hard to turn. There is a Riggins. It is going to be on your far right corner. If you're coming out of the track, if you're leaving the track, it's going to be on your right-hand side as you go through that main street. It is small. It's sketchy. But they will let you do whatever you want. So if you bring all of the cans, if you bring I'm going to say unmarked because I'm pretty sure we had an unmarked 55-gallon drum that wasn't the right color and we filled it anyway. New Jersey has a rule that they have to pump your gas. That's how it works. At Riggins, they don't care. So you can go, they'll say, here's how you flip the switch. It's fine. They hand you the nozzle. You do it because they don't want to deal with you. They'll deal with all the rest of the cars that are coming in. They will not deal with you. We have yet to be turned away. We've used white gallons, we've used red gallons, you've used all of those things. So highly recommend the Riggins. I'm sure it's cheaper than the pumps at the track, but I couldn't tell you how it is in comparison to the rest of the town. The town is really cute. We've only been there probably once or twice, but I believe there's pubs. There's all kinds of different foods. If you decide to venture out there, I believe there's a good pizza place pretty close to the track, again, in town. So it's nothing is close to the track.
Not the sketchy
Nothing.
part of town. There's another part of the town that's actually decent. Okay.
Yes,
If you go
right,
further,
right,
closer
yeah,
to the highways where the sketchy part of town is.
Yes, and then but like
You'll know.
right in.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
you
yeah.
will.
Made
Yes,
the wrong
It
turn,
will
you'll
be
know.
obvious.
yes, but yes, as you come into right before you get to the track, as you come through town, there is a couple of nice little streets that you can. I believe there's a pretty good pizza place that I know the Fishers go to. That's not far from the track. So there is another Wawa. It's one of those sketchy little Wawas, not a big mega Wawa. So if you need something, just drinks. They're not going to have bathrooms. Not going to have gas there either. There is a great ice cream place. Is that Blinker Custard?
Yeah. Blinker Custard.
Yeah, Blinker Custard. Blinker Custard is great. The parking is awful. It is right on the corner. It is in a triangle building that is right on the corner of a fork in the road, basically. And if you have a good parking spot, I would not suggest you go there on Saturday night. But if there's any other time, Blinker Custard, stop by. They have a very wide selection, huge selection. We've been there a couple of times. Pretty fun.
It's at a blinking yellow light. That's why it's Blinker Custard. And this is when you take that fork in the road to the left to go to the track from town. That's right where it is.
Yep, it's gonna be on your right. You can't miss it really. And then, like I said, there's nothing close to the track. So the track, there's an airport. There is a moto track. There's a whole lot of fields. There's a whole lot of nothing. So you are gonna have to go get things in town. There's, I'm sure, some more things that are. I couldn't even think of where. Like the closest Walmart? Is there a Walmart in that shopping center?
I think it's up by the highways
the
where
freeway.
everything like that's
Yeah.
going to be. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been there
There's
though.
plenty of stuff there. There are no real good junkyards around there. Oh, stay away from what's the place called?
Vans. Do not. If Vans is still there, don't go to Vans.
No. Everyone that's bought a motor there has found it to be bad. So don't do that. And
us being one of them.
Yep.
How does he get these cool little bubbles that show up?
I don't know. That was cool.
I know it's cool. He had a little bubble that showed up, and Mental has this thing on there that like recognizes his face, which is probably terrifying. Yeah, I think that's most of what's in the local area. Did I miss anything?
I think you got it.
Yeah, that's about it. Also, hold on one quick. There is a really great restaurant with a pool. right on site. So if you have never been there, there's a lovely place. I've
The
had
Finish
food
Line
there a
Pub
couple
at the track.
Finish Line Pub,
you're
yeah.
talking about.
Right in the track, right? So you don't even have to leave the track location. Actually, I think sometimes they have food trucks there. Sometimes they do have axe throwing. And so if you are just looking to like get out and get away from race cars but not leave the compound,
Are
that is a great option.
teammates really driving you crazy? Go throw
Well,
some axes for a little while.
sign them up. Yeah. I don't have a clue. We've been to the pool. I don't know what the pool regulations are. Might be just a small fee. But we've been there and it's lovely, especially if it's a super hot weekend. So
How has that
that's
not been a penalty yet?
Well, I don't know.
But throw
but
axes or go jump in a pool.
Go like
Both.
yeah, go
Both?
hang out at the pool. Both.
because that's nice. That's too nice. If you're being penalized, you don't just get sent to the pool.
Fair enough.
Yep.
All right.
So we got to talk about the paddock area. Now, it is actually a decent layout. We're going to just click over real quick to Chris's map here. Now, as we mentioned, you've got the tickets and registration there. You've got to drive all the way to the track and over the bridge, and this gets you into the paddock area. Here is the Finish Line Pub that Chrissy mentioned, if you're looking at that. So go to the right as you come through the gate for the Finish Line Pub. Go to the left to get to the non-dong track. We are looking at a map. Now, it is actually laid out in a very good grid, close to the garages, and there's only one set of garages that are just garages. The rest are attached to condos. Are some power poles. You don't get to take the power poles. They are actually part of the garage. So if you don't have a garage, you're not getting a power pole, and you have
Nope.
to go out to the
Nope.
great unwashed masses.
No, not
Nope.
at all. There are a ton of power poles.
Okay, sorry.
A ton.
The power poles in front of the garages. Don't take
Parking
those.
spot. Nope. Parking
the-
spots.
Parking spots in front of the garages belong to the garage. Anything that's not in the row right along the garages is open game. There are a ton of power poles in this place. They
Sorry.
are everywhere.
Got that backwards.
Don't be afraid to go to the, when you come over the hill, you see the paddock, you see the motel garages on the left, you see the event garages straight in front of you, perpendicular. Go to the other side. If you go to the other side, people forget the other side's there. There is so much more room. It's easy to get to. Don't worry about it. People just forget and stop in the first place they see. So go around the other side and there's lots of room. But there are power poles all over the place. You should tell the track that you want to rent one before you go there. And then usually the deal they used to have is you'd park your car by the power pole with your hazards on, and somebody would come unlock it for you if you prove that you paid for it.
Or sometimes you can wave them down. Usually there's a guy in a Jeep that has says that the track is on it. Like it says that it's a track vehicle, and you wave them down and tell them to unlock.
All right.
Yep.
Now, the
But
other
it's-
thing is how you get onto the actual track itself. And because this paddock area is really, really big, you have to go down to the
Your
end.
screen's little tiny, mental. You're sharing. It's little
You're
tiny.
sharing like your whole screen.
I apologize. I thought I had
It's
a
okay.
big map.
We have a big map. You just were showing more than the big map. There,
There
you
you
go.
go.
That's
That's
better.
it.
So you have to go down to the end of the paddock to enter the track. It is clearly marked, like past the garages.
Like where
And
you come off over the bridge is
Yes. And that's how you're going to get on. And then the same as when you come back, you'll actually go past that entrance, past all the refueling spots, and then you'll exit past the tower.
usually they do that at the end of the day. They exit past the.
Mhm.
No, you're right. Yeah, they exit past the tower. You're so right. Sorry. When
That's
they go
okay.
on track in the morning, though, they do two different spots sometimes. Like sometimes it's all the way down the end, and occasionally they have you come off in the middle too. I don't know. Follow the people that point at you, basically.
But just,
They always
just
have
know
attendants.
that it's because we were hiking the J Lamb toll bridge down there, and it was
Yeah.
a bit of a hike.
Yeah.
So
Especially in the morning. That's where they gather everybody up. Great.
yes. And what else? Yeah, nope, that's it. Tim's going to cover the most important part.
Where are the bathrooms? Like after you've been hydrating for all day and night.
All day and all night.
You're gonna need to know where the bathrooms are. There's one located in the center garage, where the penalty will be, the event garages. I believe there's also some on the garage that goes along the main straightaway, and there are porta potties strewn about in the open paddock area. And there's also one over by the general store, which is near turn 4, which is where you will also find the shower to wash all of the fluids and oil and all the things off of your body from your broken hoopty. So that usually gets busy. So try to time that when people are sleeping or racing is probably your best bet. But if it's typical shower times, expect to wait.
The
Yeah, there's only
best time to
3
shower
shower
at most of these
stalls.
places is green flag, because everyone's out there waiting for the green flag to drop. So that's when you can get in the shower.
Or like 4 in the morning, if you have to get up and pee, just go and shower.
True.
Yep.
Yeah, there are
Yeah.
some over at the Finish Line pub, but I'm not sure how they feel about everybody coming over there. But use them sparingly.
Those are the secret showers.
Okay, shh.
I didn't
Sorry.
want to say anything, Chrissy.
Sorry. I'm just trying to think out loud. But I think they're the only ones because the Dong Track doesn't have them.
Dong
So
Track
I-
did not have showers. It was kind of a shame. You had to go.
They
You had to go
don't.
all the way over to Thunderbolt
general store.
showers.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we used to load up the boat with a dozen
Right?
of us.
I forgot about
Drive
that.
over there.
Yeah. Yeah. So sparingly. Okay.
And they say on the site, use water sparingly, please.
Oh,
I think
that's
they're on a well. So
Well, they better be prepared for a lot of people to
The
Be
only
taken.
outdoor spigot we have found in this.
Oh, why are
track-
you telling people this? Do not tell
It's okay.
people this.
Who know?
I know where it
the hot
is. I
tub.
had to refill the hot tub from it.
Yep.
Perfect.
'Cause
Yes.
I'll say there's only one, and it's not where you would expect it, and you can go on a quest to find it.
Oh, you will not find it. But if you are nice to us, maybe we'll tell you where it is. So, yes.
Yep.
If we're not using it, and or
Yep.
if you could follow the hose, because and you better bring a freaking long hose. If you are planning on filling anything up, it is going to be very far away from wherever you're trying to go. Unless
Yep.
you bring the thing to it, you're not getting there.
And it's
That's-
also only about 6 inches off the ground, so you can't even put a jug under it very well because it's so
No,
low to the
they
ground.
they
Yeah.
did it right because I think they probably just use it for the little plants that they have around.
Yeah.
They have around. Yes. Anyway, okay, good. Getting on track. Did we talk about that?
We did.
We
so it's all-
did, but because they did such a terrible job, let me revisit it. This is an actual
Oh,
terrain map
Thank you.
of it. And you get on track. See, these are the main event garages. This is penalty. This is where the bathrooms are. This is the tower. You get on track way, way, way down here.
Just like drive to the bridge or mud pit
Mhm.
that's there, and then
Yes.
and then you can go
There's the
on track.
bridge,
Then
there's-
turn right.
yeah. Don't drive into the mud pit. And then that's going
Correct.
to take you all the way down the pit lane. These are the
Stop
hot
right there,
pits.
mental.
Yes.
That throughput that you just went by, there's a right next to the end of the hotel garages. I have seen them use this
Mhm.
for letting people both on and off track at various other times. So
Yes. I don't think
That's-
Lemons uses it deliberately though.
they always start the end of the beginning of the day at the big one at the end you just showed, but there've been enough times they've had us go through that one. I just want to point it out.
Okay. And then typically the exit is here past the tower. And almost always pay attention to the driver's meeting around the event garages. It's almost always clockwise.
Yep.
So don't
And
pull out
the-
of here and go right. You want to go left.
And penalty usually goes from whether you're looking at that picture from left to right is the way the cars usually pull through. So they'll come off the track by the tower and then immediately pull into penalty and then pull
And then
out
go
of
straight
penalty, right,
and go
to
straight.
on the side where to head back toward where you would get on track. That's a good
Yep.
flow for it.
And all of these parking spaces belong to the garages.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's correct.
But even in those grass islands, like if you were going to the middle of the middle grass island, there are power poles every 50 feet in the middle there. You can see the shadows of a couple of them, like
Some
that
of
one
them
right
are
there.
not, and some of those islands are not all grass or dirt. Some of them have been graveled, so you have
Mhm.
to watch out. You never know what it's going to look like. I don't
That's
think
why I
it'll-
suggest if you don't have a garage, just go to the other side, and you can tell by the wear patterns in the grass how much less use it gets. And there are still power poles out there. There's still plenty. Like you can see the power poles there, right there. Yep, there's some. And it's better place to go if you're not in a garage.
All right, moving on to food. So we already talked about Finish Line Pub. Pretty good selection.
They
It's
used to deliver too, like to your paddock.
maybe they might
They
do that.
did.
Oh, I got a little thumbs up. How'd that happen? Or did you do that? Can I do that? I don't know how that happened.
That's 100% you, Chrissy.
I didn't. I don't know why it showed up. So yeah, you may be able to get that. Not sure. But I usually actually on the front of the what do you call it? Potty papers. That's what I've heard them called. The things that are on the inside of a stall door, they will give you information about how to order. As far as I know, the general store does not have food, but they do have ice. So if it is going to be a hot weekend, you will probably be going there at least once or twice. I think the cost was about normal. It was worth
Yeah.
going there to get. It wasn't like $50 for a 50-pound bag. It was reasonable for what you were getting. It was probably more expensive, but by the time that you went all the way out, brought it back, found a cooler for it, it would be worth it. So, but you have to get it because they will run out. But if it's an extra hot weekend, they usually try to keep up. So it's pretty good. So
Jack Store is a pretty good selection too, in general, of stuff. If you forget,
yeah, but again,
they'll sell out of seatbelts on Friday from people that didn't listen to this and don't know that their SFI belts are expired.
we didn't get there yet. Stop. And they'll sell out of socks as well. Things that you know that you're going to need, then they're going to run that out. So we already talked, and there is not usually any other food. I don't think. They don't usually have a food truck. They don't usually have anything else. So bring your stuff. And this leads me into Saturday night. Join us on Saturday night for the potluck. It's going to be normal time. It's going to be 6:30. Bring your stuff over 7:00-ish. Eat. It's whenever I decide that we have enough food, and then we're going to eat. So you're just going to have to wait if you are there, and I don't. And it's not 7:00. Sometimes people don't bring food over early enough.
And honestly, if you don't have a garage, you're going to want to plan on being at the potluck because right now there is a chance of rain in the afternoon and evening.
It's still a week and a half away. Who the hell knows?
Right. It's far away. But also it's a good time. New Jersey has been epic. Sometimes we've had whole teams that brought whole grills over, and it's been, like one of those, not just a potluck, but people bring like sideshows and just different places that you can kind of walk around. People just put tables out in the middle of the street and have parties. So really epic time. There will be music. There should be some food, but this is the time that if you were planning on bringing something, which I'm sure you are, if you possibly can sign up, that would be helpful. It gives me a little bit better idea of what we're expecting. And it gives me time to be able to freak out. If we don't have many people that have signed up, then I can start worrying about how much food I don't have. So if you could, the sign up is going to be down there. Please sign up. I'll also be putting up it on Facebook a couple more times just to make sure that people get it. I trust that you're going to bring some food, but bring it anyway, even if you haven't signed up, but I'll be happy to have it. Saturday night, normal time. That's about it for food.
And when you need to fuel out of your red cans, because it's Jersey, to
Correct.
get to the pits, there's really only one way to do that, and that is by let's call it the center of the world, is right outside of HQ, as where also the podium is. Podium's on a trailer, and this is also where the stairs are to go up to the tower. It's right by the tower. Right in that quadrant is a gate to get you out into the hot pits. So it gets very jam-packed right there too, because there's a trailer that's not in the picture, or the trailer's moved from the picture that Mental's showing. It's back further now.
No. But that's
it's way
the podium.
back.
Yeah.
Right, but it's back all the way by the gate. Here's what always happens is there's a whole bunch of people standing around waiting to go through the gate, and they are all waiting, and then one person will come through the gate after just fueling and just stop in the middle of the road there and take their helmet off and then not have any clue that there's a whole bunch of people around waiting for them to move. So if you're walking through the one with only person and cart pathway, keep moving to get all the way out of the way, either
And,
wherever you're going, just keep moving.
If you bring your civilian vehicle to haul all your gas cans, don't park it here at the
No.
intersection where everyone's trying to walk.
There's no room for your Texas Giganticus Edition F950, and no one's impressed. Yeah. Just amazing me. The people just walk through and just stop. It's like, yeah, we're also trying to get through this. Please move, sir. Thank
Pardon
you.
me. Excuse me. Pardon me. Pardon me.
Yeah.
Or if you need to communicate in the local vernacular, hey, we're trying to get to a car here.
I'm walking here.
I'm walking here.
Hey, it's a wave.
Jag out. Take your helmet off someplace else.
So, being from New Jersey and telling you about how stupid the rules are there, they have some really, really unique, I'll say unique, that's probably a nicer way of saying it, and challenging rules around fueling and seatbelts. Your cans must be red. The pump attendant must fill your cans. You cannot touch them. You cannot help. You are being watched by the New Jersey State Police. So
Who
it's
will
not
be
like
on site in uniform.
I've
will be
only
there.
seen them once ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be sometimes they'll be around. So it's not worth the ticket and the trouble. But the fueling area for the pumps is kind of right when you come over the tunnel down into the paddock. It'll be over there on the right, I believe. So they will fill your car for you. They will fill your cans for you, and as long as they are red. And just as a reminder, 5 gallons only in your cans, boys and girls. That is something that people are looking at now. So if you are putting too many gallons in your jugs and then too many jugs of those extra gallons go in your race car, you may find yourself in the back flag area. So keep your fueling to 24 gallons and keep your cans up to date. Your seatbelts, they must be within 2 years of the manufacturer date for SFI. But FIA belts are okay until they expire, which is generally 5 years, I think, on those belts.
It's the reason we only buy FIA belts these days, because
the extra money,
New Jersey,
and the extra money on those for sure. The schedule for the weekend is Friday, June 7th. The gate will open for registration at 7 a.m. To be announced will be the test day information. That is through the track. You can go through motorsport.reg. Price will be $400. If you do plan to roll your car over, do it on Friday so you can still race on the weekend because it is not a Lemons event. And then we will have Lemons Tech and BS inspection from 11 to 5. Also, Gear Tech will be in that same area. And that will also be from 11 to 5. So bring your janky cars, bring your janky themes, and all your knucklehead friends that want to go racing and do dumb things. From 6:30 to 7:30, there will be a track walk. Listen for announcements. There will be no motorized vehicles on the track walk. That includes electric bicycles and electric skateboards and scooters and all of those things. You may bring as many White Claws as you'd like, and I highly recommend
at least
that.
a 3 White Claw course.
But
yeah,
don't leave your junk on the racetrack. Take out what you brought in.
Yeah.
At 8 p.m., the race car quiet hours begin. No motors through 8:30 a.m. Voices and loud music, however, is encouraged. So
Okay.
at 9 p.m., gate registration will close. No armband, no entry. You have to get your scaling shoes out and climb the fences. Or you can parachute in from the nearby airport. Otherwise, you'll be waiting until 7 a.m. on Saturday morning for the gate to reopen. There will be a mandatory driver's meeting in 5 minutes at 9 a.m. Head to the driver's meeting. They will go over all of the fun things and make fun of the rookies, which is always a blast. And then 9:30, we will go to grid. Show up soon. Please don't everybody show up at 10 a.m. That makes the folks in the orange shirts have a heart attack trying to dick check all of the people before the green flag at 10 o'clock. So get there around 9:30 if you could. From 10 to 6, we have the race session 1. 7 p.m., the gate and registration will close. Once again, no armband, no entry, and the quiet hour begins at 8 p.m. No race motors, once again, through 8:30 a.m. That's all right because you will all be at the potluck, so you won't have to worry about running your race car. On Sunday, 7 a.m. gates and registration open again. Spectators, if you want to come and spectate, you can do that in advance through the Lemons website. I believe it's $30 for the weekend. So sign up and come. I think my nephew who lives in Philadelphia, him and a buddy of his that are getting into cars are going to come and check it out. So
Awesome.
I look forward to having those guys there. And then race session on Sunday will be from 9 to 3:30 with awards at 4 p.m. for all of those lucky and unlucky people that will be recognized for their shenanigans.
Must be present to win. So a couple of years ago, I remember when Tom Lamino was going to get an award, but he was too busy trying to burn down his own garage.
That's a Saturday.
Oh,
All right. Let's do our track walk turn by turn. Everybody
let's
jump
do
in as
it.
needed. First off, once you get on the track, once you go all the way down pit lane from getting on way at the other side of the world, you will follow the blend line till just after turn 1.
Chrissy?
Make sure.
Yes. Oh, blend line. I love blend lines.
Yep.
It's my favorite.
So,
Or I just go like, "Ah, let's get on the track." Oh, yes. This wasn't this track that I went over the blend line, but
but
it's
once you
happened.
get down there, it's just after turn 1. You get a lot of people coming through turn 1 pretty quickly, not paying attention to you. So my suggestion is, once you get on track, stay right all the way to turn 2. Okay. All right. Now let's go back to the straight. You're coming down the straight. It's a long straight. You're hauling, doing well. Okay. You're going to have to brake for turn 1, which is a slightly less than 90-degree right. Oh, actually, I need to preface this all. The track got repaved over the winter. So there are things that may be different than we know them. We're all going to learn.
How
going out
dare
there now
you
on the new
steer
pavement.
us wrong?
I know.
Did they change curbs or anything, Chris? Do you know?
No, they haven't done that. They're going to add some new track layouts over in the Octopus section, but they have not done so yet. And we will continue running the current course because it's the slowest possible layout. So anyway, come down to 1. It is a less than 90-degree turn. It is a little off camber. It is visually distinctive in that you can't see it very well. So it makes your brain thinks it is slower than it really is. There's also a huge curb on the inside at the apex. Try to stay off of that. And if you go off on the far side of the track out, probably going to be in a ditch because a lot of people have gone off there and really worn the dirt down. So coming up between 1 and 2, it's an uphill. 2 is at the crest of a hill. Oh, thanks, Mental. I guess I should do that too. 2 is at the crest of a hill. It's a right-hand turn. And you will get light here. And a lot of cars do go off at track out because they did get light, didn't realize it. It's a pretty wide curb at track out, but that's okay. You can still do pretty well as long as you apex to on the late side, you can get on the gas pretty early and push through. And Mental, if you zoom in a little bit more, that would make it a little better to see of exactly what we're doing there. Yep. All right. So after you've come through 2, assuming you apex a little late, you didn't track out too far. When the car got light at the top of the hill, you're on the far left side coming down toward 3. We are going to use the chicane at 3 and not go through. Oh, so it's yes,
3A.
chicane at 3, not like other clubs run. So this is the way we're used to running in Lemons. So you've got a right, left, and a right to get back onto through the chicane. You're going to, I like staying a little on the wider side coming into it because lets you carry some nice speed from 3, but it turns out you're going to end up having to dive down the inside a lot just as a defensive line. This ends up being 2 cars wide a lot of times through 3A and B. And just be careful. It's tight coming into 3A and it's decreasing radius, and a lot of people will lift off a little too late and oversteer there, or they won't then make 3B correctly, and they overslow in 3B, and they'll be in the way if you've come down through 3A correctly. 3C is a right-hand turn that is increasing radius and opens up onto the straight between 3 and 4, and it's a pretty quick turn. There's no real weird things there except traffic, because there's so many people that do the chicane poorly that you'd be amazed at how much they're going to be slow sometimes coming out of there. So watch out. But essentially, carry your speed into 3A, ignore 3B, and that you're just getting through it. So you set yourself up for 3C to get the most speed you can coming onto that straight. And that straight is downhill and then uphill before 4. The watch out here is if it rains, the water ponds and collects in the straight between 3 and 4. And like epically ponds. And the wakes that people will throw going through there in the rain is
You like prepare, go straight, figure out who's in front of you before you hit it. Close your eyes, or the rain will come up and over your car, splash down your car. Then you'll be able to see. And then you just hope that nobody has stopped in front of you.
And try not to be just behind somebody to one side, because then their wake is going to go right in your window. That's a shame. When
Ask us how we know.
Yeah. All right. So after that straight, you're coming into turn 4. Turn 4 is a corner that is another one that's deceptive in that you can go through it a lot faster than you think you can. And a lot of people over brake for 4, but you can carry a pretty good amount of speed if you don't have traffic there. That's a right-hand turn, and it's only like a 30, 40 degree turn. It's not that tight, but it looks bad when you're coming into it. So I think I usually brake at the 1-ish. That lets me get my end of braking off.
It's very wide as well.
Yeah.
So use the whole track. I tend to not use the whole track there, but it is wide. There's plenty of room for you and multiple people.
If you're a BMW, there's not room on the inside of that Ford.
Yep. Yeah, Tim agreed.
Good place to pass people there.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I pass a lot of people in this section here between 4 and 5. Because people did 4 wrong. So if you've carried enough speed through 4, you're going to get a good run on them coming through 5. 5 is the tightest left-hander on the track. A lot of people overslow for this, and a lot of people also push way too wide because they early apexed it. So if you can get all the way back to the right after 4, do so. But this ends up being cars going through too wide a lot. So really, you're just picking your lane based on traffic for the most part. The curbing is
you guys
notable.
are seeing the map, right?
Yeah,
the actual,
but we're seeing
little.
the map on half of your screen. We're seeing your entire screen, and then just the half of the map.
Sorry.
So the curbing on both of those is significant, or at least it used to be. So you can put 2 wheels up on it, but it's a big bump. And if you go off the track out curbing, if you go beyond the curbing, it's another ditch, because you can see how worn the dirt is.
It's popular
because of
to
how
go
many
off.
people have gone off there, because people early apex it too much. So
and you can see all the track marks where they overcorrect and slide.
And that curb
Porsche
is
line.
yeah, that's true. That curb is really pretty thick. It's plenty. You'd have to be going up and over. You can hit it. Don't hit it, but if you're on it and it's dry, it's not a problem. Yes, Tim.
It's big enough that when you put your 2 wheels on it, it's gonna bounce a bit.
Have you guys mentioned how many cars are registered for this?
I
No, we
think
didn't even really
it's
talk about that.
120 something as far as I
We
know. They
uh
haven't
No?
released the list
we
yet.
yeah, we're up a
No?
little early, but they are capping this one
Right?
at 120. So
Should be
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
right.
And there's more on yeah, there's more that want to go than are going to be getting in. So it's going to be busy.
Yeah.
yes.
That's why I'm trying to give the traffic lines and the real lines
Yeah.
coming through these corners. And this one really just gonna be there's 2 lanes coming through. Pick your lane. But try to stay off of the curbs if you can, because they're not going to help you in this section at least. All right, between 5 and 6, everyone's kind of gone down to second or third, and they're just kind of pulling out of 5 and coming towards 6. There is a nice corner station on the left here that I think is often it's a really nice spot to see. I think they do black flag there. Occasionally, I've seen them do black flag at that corner station there at 6.
Yeah, sometimes. So I
It's on
think
the
so.
it's on the outside on the left hand side is where the corner station is. Turn 6 is almost a 90-degree corner, but I find that you can take it a lot faster than you think you can. Like I like to do a little bit a brush of the brakes and then power back on, and if it's just a classic 90-degree corner,
And it is on
nothing
camber.
really particular. What's that?
It is on camber.
Yep. Yeah, it's a normal 90-degree right. It's easy. It's almost like the one in the textbook of, all right, here's a corner, kids. Now we're going to draw the line, right? That's pretty much what it looks like.
Right. This is on Ross Bentley's front of his book.
Yeah. All right. So now you're headed down towards 7. So you're headed south. It's a little straight. You've carried some good speed through 6. You can be moving coming up to 7. This is another great place for passing because of the people who have done 6 poorly or who are braking really early for 7. You can get a lot of passing done in this area. People brake so early for this. We are now getting into a complex of corners that we need to talk about together. So 7,
like all of us together, like kumbaya together.
Yeah, we'll hold hands.
Okay.
And get group hug. Yeah. So 7 is a right-hand turn. You can take it faster than you think. There's a lot more room. But once you start turning right at 7, you basically never stop turning right until you're all the way into 9. You just keep turning right. So turn right at 7, track out, and then you're going to I like to gradually work my way back to the inside along the course of 7, 8, and into 9. And 9 is the corner that screws up the most people on this track by far. That is because after 7, the radius increases into 8, and you come all the way through, and then into 9, it decreases sharply. And so many people have not slowed well, and they just push wide and spin, and all kinds of shenanigans happen there from people who are doing things poorly. So I suggest being very careful going around the outside of 9, because someone very likely is going to overshoot that corner on the inside of you, and you're going to have a bad time. So if you gradually bring yourself, tighten up your line as you're coming through 8 and into 9, and I like to just kind of right before 9, really, then come in and just hug that curb on the inside. It keeps you, I think it's the safest place. It's not necessarily the fastest way to go. The fastest way to go would be stay out about halfway at least, and then cut in once you're slowed down for 9. But trail your brakes, trail your throttle as you're coming into 9. And then I like to hang in on the right-hand side of 9. And then see what you're going to get for traffic. Because now you're coming to 10, which is a 180 or a little more than 180 degree sweeper to the left, known as the octopus or the devil's tail or whatever you want to call it. And this ends up always being a pick your lane. You get an inside and an outside lane. Which one has got the Cordoba in it? Or which one's got the Simca, right? And you go to not that one, essentially. But let's assume there's no one around. Like you got that great lap where there's no one around this corner. Fantastic.
With 120 cars, I'm pretty sure you might have a corner.
Right. You might get those one time. But if you get the one time, after you come out of 9, just don't track out, stay a little bit to the right, and then gradually bring yourself in as you're coming around the corner for 10 to the point where you're by the time you're at the middle of the corner, like the peak of the corner, you want your left hand wheels on the curbing. This curbing, if it's like what it used to be before the repave, is magic. You stick your two left wheels on it and you get so much more grip. I don't know what it is about that corner and that curbing, but
I think
stick
it's
your two left wheels on it.
I think it's
And
some repaving. There's a little strip. Well, I don't know how little
Yeah.
it is, but there's a little strip that goes that you stick your tires in between the little strip of repave and the curb.
yeah, and it just hangs onto the car. It's amazing. And then so you just are gradually building up your speed as you're coming around that corner so that by the time you're around, at coming out of the other side, assuming there's no traffic, you can be flat on the gas for the S's that are coming up. But you're going to get pinched a lot by people who are going to be in the other lane. You're going to have to worry about that. So be careful about the traffic there because and keep your eyes up. There's so many times you might get a good run out of 10 only to find someone who's just blocking the S's
in the
like
middle
right
of
in
the
middle of
road.
the road. Yeah. So keep your eyes up there that you'll be all right. So now you come into the S's at 11 and 11A. These are pretty normal. You can fit 2 cars here. You can do some passing here if you've got a good run out of 10. It's pretty decent. And then you come under the bridge.
But bear in mind, as you're doing that passing, there might be folks setting up to exit into
Yes.
the pits.
Good call, Mental, because right before the bridge is where you enter the track out for pit in on the right-hand side there. And I've seen people make very abrupt moves. None of them were driving Aston Martins at the time, but when people feel like they've got to get into pits, they've got to get in. So watch out for that. Because if they get stuck on the inside at 10, sometimes you feel like you can't get back to the right. And if that's you and you don't have to pit this lap, you know what? Go around again. It's okay. It'll still be there.
You're not being charged for the lap.
Nope. So you come under the bridge. You can't see much for a second, but assuming you kind of cleared out who's running where in your traffic there, there's a very big curbing on the inside of 12 coming onto the straight. And this is friendly curbing. You can put the entire car, except for the left wheels, on that curbing. It is smooth. It is no problem. Use it.
Even in the rain?
Yeah, well, in the rain, it gets slippery. Yeah,
Okay.
you're right. In the rain, it gets slippery, but your right-hand wheels aren't doing much in the rain.
No. But just saying, some of this
Yes.
curb is better than others in the rain. Obviously, you probably should take a read line. Sorry to interrupt.
In a
But
300ZX especially, do not get on the gas in a V8 Z car as you're coming through this area. It really won't work out well for you. But in general, if it's dry, you can use a lot of this curbing. And what I understand is that the exit curbing after 12 has been widened and lengthened considerably
oh, okay.
as part of this repave. So you probably be able to use that more. So we're probably going to be able to carry a bit more speed through 12 than we have in the past as a result. But again, eyes up as you're coming out of the bridge. Once you can see it's clear enough to go for it. And don't be afraid of that inside curbing, friendly inside curbing. And that brings you onto the straight, which is a normal straight. Nothing exciting about it. You'll end up
slightly
going
downhill
3 or
and you
4
get a lot
wide.
of speed.
Yeah. It's fun going 4 wide as you go past the tower too and trying to sort everything out before you get to 1.
But it's
And you want to
doable.
sort it out before you get to 1.
But it's doable. I mean, I wouldn't go 4
I don't
wide.
like
It's
to.
not no 4 wide's not
Oh.
great. 3 wide will happen because
yeah.
you'll have, and then
Every
you
lap.
have to pick a lane. And then if you're the slow car, I would either all the way to the left or center to be able to make sure that you have place to go.
If you're slow, I suggest staying left, all the way left. That way people can't go around you on both sides at once, and that's never good.
And
No,
keep
but
an
it
eye
will
out.
happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it is slightly uphill as you make that turn, but you can get an eyeball when you're sweeping your gauges about who's coming down pit lane and about to join the track
Yep.
right as you make the turn.
Absolutely.
Good call, Mental.
And it's plenty wide there too. So that you'll be able to keep racing. I mean, you can't go 3 wide there, but
No.
there's enough
You
room
can
for
go
everybody.
2 wide in most places on this track without
Yep.
too much of a problem.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
Everyone, favorite corner or least favorite corner, or just pick a corner that's interesting to you. Which one and why?
Ooh.
I really like four. Four is super fun. As we said earlier, you got people just over slow for that, and you can almost anticipate when they're going to do it and just slingshot your way around that. And if you get that right, you can cruise through five and really carry some speed into six, and that whoever that was you were battling with is just gone.
Yeah.
I
That's what I was
agree.
going to say, Timmy. Good one.
Yeah, my one comment to that is I occasionally overslow, but I am a habitual overslower when I don't have my eyes up. I'll just admit that all over the place. Occasionally in four, if you're going straight, you're figuring out who's there. My eyes are straight ahead. And if you are already looking at five, which is where you absolutely should be already looking, that is an easy way for you to forget whatever might be scary in the actual four corner. So I have to say this out loud to remind myself that when I'm doing that, occasionally I overslow because I'm looking ahead and then thinking about that corner and not the corner ahead. So
Is there a song?
no,
No, there
Oh.
should be.
can
Because
be.
if you're looking at the corner you're in, it's too late. You can't
I
change
mean,
it anymore.
I'm very, very aware of this. It is just that sometimes I don't do it. So that's why I'm saying out loud that I have to remind myself until I've been in the car for a little while, and then I remember that's where I'm supposed to be looking. But occasionally the reminder is necessary.
Totally.
Work in progress.
Always.
I like 12 because it feels like a reward. And really, to get 12, you can get 12 well if
To
you've
get
got
onto
a
the
quick
straight?
car. Right. But if you have listened to what Chris said and starting back in turn 6 and you have kept it smooth and you built that momentum into 7 and then you just got 9 absolutely right and you set yourself up for absolute perfection on 10, you grab that inside curbing and it launches you into 11 and you dice right through those S's, you are at max smash going into 12 and it viscerally rewards you. You feel it onto 12. You're like, I crushed this. And then in front of you is nothing but track, and you can already pick who you're going to get around, and you check your mirrors for anyone that's coming up on you, and you got a lot of track. But 12, 12 is like stepping on the scale after like a 6-month workout.
Nice.
Wow. Wow. That is
I would agree with that, Mental. 12's really fun, and unless you run into traffic coming out of 10, and then 12's like, oh,
Wah, wah.
Yep. Or you pick the wrong lane. Unfortunately, like somebody squeezes
Yeah.
you during the S's, and then you end up behind the Cordoba, and you're like, I am not supposed to be here. I am supposed to be over there, yet I am not able to get over to the. I picked the wrong lane. It happens occasionally, especially with people getting off track. You've got somebody who's limping. You don't realize it when you are coming out. Yes, that is totally a thing. There are a lot of things that can thwart you through the punch out of 10 into 11 to 12.
And friendly
Okay.
reminder, if you are going to leave the track, as you come out of 10, stay right and put your fist out, and no dive bombing from the left side of 11 out onto the pit lane. That is
New Jersey
that happened last
Turnpike,
time I
pick
raced.
your exit nonsense.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Good.
Sure.
All right. I'll add, I think, 2 things that you guys already covered, some good ones. I think 2 is more interesting than people give it credit for because of the way it crests that hill. You have to go over it completely blind, knowing where you're going to go. And when you get one at just right, when you kind of just crest the hill and the whole car gets light and just moves over a little bit, but it lands and catches with only 2 wheels on the curb, it's just right. And you rocket off down toward 3.
I like
All
all
right.
corners.
Trying to get my
Agree.
fireworks. I can't get my
I
fireworks.
know they didn't happen tonight, but I think I
Oh.
got the thumbs up works
A couple times.
right.
Oh, well.
Mine doesn't have a bubble. Okay,
I don't know.
whatever.
What am I
It
supposed
was
to do
fun.
with the bubble? I don't know.
Pop
I
it.
don't know. Okay, great. Who's ready to race? We're gonna
All
race.
of us. Yay, let's go.
Yay.
Race cars.
Okay. Great.
Do we have a safety topic this week, Chrissy?
I can usually come up with one unless somebody else has got something interesting.
Have I done
Everybody's-
anything dangerous lately? I don't think so.
Well, everybody else you've been messing with race cars or other cars, or did you take your, how safe did you take your V off the back of your pickup truck? Things like that. But I have a topic if you'd like.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, great. No intro necessary.
Just
no.
let
Only because half of you think that you actually enjoy the intro to that. So, this week's topic is normalized risk, and it is hard to identify, but it is a good practice to think of the things that you do that are unsafe, that are normalized. And maybe it's something that your partner does that is normalized, like Chris called me out on an unsafe task during after dinner. I was taking an avocado pit out of an avocado, not the way that people normally do, where they slam a knife into the pit and twist, because sometimes it's stuck and sometimes takes too much avocado with it. So I use the pick part, and it's basically shooting right at my hand. So Chris told me about it. I also have a super habit of using scissors when opening a box. I will not do it at work, but I will do that at home, knowing that people have actually gotten their hands just completely sliced open from doing that. So there is a thing that's normalized risk that you just think that you do at any time and you're probably not going to hurt yourself, but sometimes you might actually hurt yourself. So trying to consider the things that you do in your life that are actually not the best thing to do, and that you have just normalized said risk. So just good thought. It's very difficult for you to identify, most people to identify in themselves. But if you're thinking about being safe and things that you do that are inherently risky, and you do them anyway, and you may just have not gotten hurt these last couple times, changing your habits and ways.
Yep.
There you go.
Good
Don't
stuff.
stab yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't stab yourself.
Hand wounds are bad.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
I saw something today. It was a meme, but it was the thing of Purell when everybody had hand sanitizer, and they had changed the label to paper cut finder.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
And you will, we've all done it. You know, the bruise in your knuckles or just a slight cut in your hand, and you're making food or you're doing everything, and you don't realize how many irritating things you touch with your hands until there's an open wound on them.
Pretty much. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. What's going on next week? We're going to be packing. What are you doing?
Yes. So this is, listeners, it's going to be an interesting time. Now, Chris
It is.
and Chrissy and we have many, many work assignments coming up, and we are all not going to be in the same place where we can record for probably the next 8 episodes, but we have worked out a schedule. So next week, you are going to get me and Tim Burr, because Tim's the man and he is happy to step in here. And we are bringing on what will be 3rd host, Eric Rude, but 5th host, Eric Rude. And we're just going to chat about everything. We'll talk about New Jersey. We're going to talk about some of the judging. We're going to talk about the renewed interest in theming that is really, really, I think, is yielding benefits. We're going to mention the new Lemon's World video that is all about Corey Dickman. And if you haven't seen that, you should. That'll be in our show notes as well. So join us next week. It is going to be a great time. It's always good when Eric's on because we learn stuff.
Always.
Excellent. Sorry, we're going to miss it.
Yeah. You got to pick his brain about, there's some stats we wanted to talk about earlier. Got to find those.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, hey, thanks for downloading us, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. Hope you're going to join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. With a Formula V and the bed of your truck that is going to fall out. Anyway, if you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. Don't care what you thought, 5 stars, and tell us why. We absolutely will read it. Any questions, show ideas, thoughts, emotional outbursts, drop us a comment on any of the places on the internets that people go, like Facebook, Everyone Racers, email everyone.racers@gmail.com, text to mental late night junk pictures, 484-243-0455. That's about it. So thanks again, everybody. Until next week, keep the shiny side up unless you're using unapproved colored gas cans. Then just you're gonna burn. You're just gonna die.
Oh no.
Death forever.
Oh no.
Ouch.